Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again. I am here to review another Goosebumps book. This is one that I was not looking forward to reviewing at all because it's not a single book, it is multiple quote unquote books shoved into one. And it is even more tales to give you goosebumps. If you want to know why, it's because I have been reading the books in the order of the episodes on Netflix. And so the Even More Tales story, Don't Wake Mummy, came before anything else. Anyways, so, sorry, excuse me. I was not a fan of this book. This is probably, it's like the second or third worst experience I've ever had reading Goosebumps, ever. This was in the fall when I read this book, when I was almost done kind of doing the binge reading of Goosebumps books, because I would basically just read a book a day, a book a day, a book a day, sometimes two or three a day. And this was one of the ones that started the tapering down of reading Goosebumps all the time, constantly. And for good reason. This book was pretty bad. It was, I was excited. I thought short stories where, number one, they're short, so they're not going to be repetitive like a lot of his books, his full books. Number two, maybe the stories will hit harder because they're short, and so they're a lot more intense. Things happen a lot quicker. It doesn't always work if you do it like that. That's not the best way to do things, because that's what they do with TV nowadays. With TV shows, it's all about keeping things short, really fast paced, and a lot of the times it doesn't work. This book was one of those times. For starters, let's talk about. You know what? I'm going to talk about the books ranked from worst to best. That's the order I'm going to talk about them. So, first off, I have the worst story, The Change for the Strange. And I thought the title was promising. I thought that's a pretty interesting title. But then I can't even remember it, honestly. Like, I remembered being in pain reading this story. It was so bad. It was so frustratingly dull and boring, and I just wanted to like jump out the window. That's how bad this story was. Like, Change for the Strange. Like, yeah, it really he's not lying. It really was strange. It really was a change for the strange, and not in a good way. It was completely nonsensical, dull. I give it an F minus. It is probably the worst Goosebumps anything I've ever read. It's worse than the worst one I've read so far, which is The Headless Ghost. It is the worst thing of Goosebumps history. That's how bad Change for the Strange is. And then also, another F minus is The Alien Garden. And this was one where I was kind of liking it. It reminded me a lot of the Twilight Zone episode where you had this old woman and she finds this alien who kind of invades her house, and it's a little miniature alien. And I kind of thought, oh, this is going pretty well. I kind of like this story. I like the concept of like an alien in the garden. Like, that's a fun. It also reminds me a little bit of Indian in the Cupboard, that series of books, and then the movie, of course. But then comes the ending. The ending is just the worst in Goosebumps history because he uses the same twist a fourth time. Again. Again. Ugh. You know, the same twist where you have the alien. It turns out the alien is actually the human. And the people characters are the aliens. Like, ugh. He totally ruined that. Like, he just did that for shock value. He did that for no reason. Like, that is stupid. Like, he ruined a perfectly good story by having this needless twist. And he's like, how many times is he going to use this twist? Like, at this point, I am going to read every Goosebumps book going forward and just assume everyone. Oh, fuck. And just assume everyone is aliens already. Like, you might as well not even act like, okay, maybe stay out of the basement. Maybe the kids in Stay Out of the Basement, maybe they were aliens the whole time, so they don't have any right to complain about their dad turning into a plant, because they're all fucking aliens to begin with. Like, that's. Like, if you just think about how stupid that is, like, this kid, he goes out to the backyard, or whatever the fuck, in the park, and he finds an alien in a spaceship, and the alien actually kills his bullies and his sister. It's actually really awesome. It's like, oh wow, this is pretty cool for a Goosebumps story. And then at the very end, it's like, he goes into this surprising description where he says the spaceship was shaped like a rocket ship, and then the alien had a name tag or something like that, something stupid like that. And so I really did not like how he reused that twist a fourth time. A fourth time. Like, I can understand, you know what? I mean, I can understand reusing that twist maybe once or twice. Like, I did kind of like the idea of the Blob Monster book, how it ends with you have, oh look, it's actually there were these blobs and they were writing the story the whole time. Like, that's fun. That's like a nice kids ending that relieves kids of their stress and fear. But when he does it like a million times, it just gets on my nerves. He ruined that story. He ruined it. Speaking of ruining things, another F book. This is an F plus. So I gave the Alien Garden an F minus because fuck that fucking short story. Fuck those aliens. I mean, those people. They're people. And then, of course, the sister and the bullies come back too, which is another instance of like R.L. Stine isn't ballsy enough to kill off kids, even though he'll make exceptions in these really weird moments. That's another thing I don't like about Goosebumps books, is that they're so inconsistent in their rules. Like, he said in his master class that he never kills kids in Goosebumps, but then he'll do it all the time. That's what's really weird. Like, he has some strange, like, inconsistencies. And then in other areas, he has some strange repetitiveness. You know, I guess he needs to make some change for the not strange, okay, in his writing. He needs to change for the good, not the strange. The next one, though, is the Haunted House game, an F plus. This is another one I literally don't remember. Like, it's just so forgettable and so bad. I remember the episode because I've seen the episode a million times, because when I was a kid, what happened was you couldn't get Goosebumps on Netflix or on DVD for the most part, and so what happened was my mom made a deal where she bought me a bootleg collection of the whole series from eBay for like $200, and she bought it in exchange for me getting good grades on a test, and I ended up getting good enough grades to get the collection. And I would just watch episodes over and over again, even if I didn't like them, because I just loved Goosebumps so much. And I watched this episode quite a bit. You know, a lot of these episodes, they're good to watch and in the background while you're doing other things like you're drawing, which I'm an artist as well. So that's what I did when I watched this episode. And the reason why I even bring this up is because the story, I can't even remember what happened. Like, it was so bad. It was even worse than the episode. And I thought the episode, it was a good idea because it kind of reminded me of the Choose Your Own Goosebumps adventure books. But instead of you making the choices, it's the characters. It's just unfortunate that it wasn't any good in this book. The story, ugh. I don't know why though. I literally don't even know why, because these stories were so forgettable and bad. And then Home Sweet Home, D minus. This is another one. I have no idea what happened in this book. No idea. Sorry about that. I just like sucked in some air and it like hit my throat the wrong way. Then Don't Wake Mummy. This was the episode the reason why I read this book. And honestly, I hated this story. I gave it a D. And it's surprising because I really liked the episode a lot. In particular, I talked about crushes last week. Last book, I had crushes on Goosebumps actresses as a kid. And this was one of them. The sister in this episode, because she was a huge horror fan, and she's actually a really cool like prankster, and she pranked her brother, and she loved horror movies, and you know, she seemed like the perfect like girlfriend as a kid. Like, she was like number 3 or 4 on my crushes list. And so I was excited to read this story to see if it was good as the episode as I remembered watching it as a kid. And it was terrible. It was I don't I don't even remember. See, I mean, that's even worse. Honestly, I will take bad books that I can remember over bad books that I forgot about years ago. Like, if I remember something as bad, that means that at least it left an impression on me. But this story was so bad, it didn't leave any impression on me at all. I do just remember it was terrible. I so much wish, though, that I could remember why. And maybe I should review these short story books right after I read them, because this is getting a little embarrassing as a reviewer. So now we're on to the C's. So there are 1, 2 D's, 2 D's, and 3 F's in this book. That's not good, folks. That is not good. The Thumbprint of Doom, I give a C minus. This is just a stupid throwaway story. It's another one I can't even remember what happened though. Like, I guess there's a thumbprint of doom somewhere. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Leave me alone. I don't know. And I don't want to read them again. Please don't make me read them again, because it was painful. It was so painful. I remember reading this and just going like, ugh, I want to get this over with. The next one, I'm Telling. I give this one a C. Another one, I don't know what happened. I don't know. I don't know. What's the next one? Oh, well, here we go. So the next 3, the last 3 that I'm going to talk about they are actually ones that I can remember. Do you know why? Because they were good. Whoa. For the Birds, I give a B plus. So close to getting an A, it's not even funny. I loved this short story. It is all about this family that goes to a bird resort, and the main kid, she really doesn't like birds. She hates them. She thinks they're stupid. I was like that as a kid too. I hated birds as a kid, and I don't know, like for some reason when you're a kid, you'll just hate things without any explanation. And she really didn't want to go to this resort, and that's another thing you can empathize with, is going on trips that you really don't want to go on. And so they're in this bird resort, and it's a really, really amazingly detailed and creepy, mysterious place. It's like a maze, and it's so cool. The description into like the bird themed rooms and the statues and the even like the employees acted like birds, and then they have a maze outside. And so this story reminded me of The Shining, and that is another reason I loved the story. And there's this really cool part where this employee encounters her, and honestly, I thought it was going to get really dark. Kind of like in Fallout New Vegas when you go to the Ultralux casino, and you know what happens with the employees in that one. Let's just say it gets really dark in that video game. But what happens is the employee says, "Hey, I know that you don't like being here. I know that you didn't want to come to this stupid place, and that's fine. So if you want to get your parents back, just bring them into the maze or wherever, whatever it is, and we'll take care of it." And so it is this girl conspiring with one of the employees of this evil place to quote unquote get back at her family. And so her parents and her brother go to the maze or whatever it is. It's like a big place. And all of a sudden, the parents are, I think they're either birds or worms. And then the main girl is turned into a cat or a bird. And I can't remember, but I did not really like the ending. I thought the ending was queer. I thought that was very cheesy and stupid. And I'm sort of glad that they didn't make that part into an episode. But it is sad they didn't make any of it into an episode. I really love the story, honestly. If I were to make a Goosebumps movie or a TV episode and I had to choose one from this book, the number one I would choose is For the Birds, because of that atmosphere that he created. Very, very good atmosphere and very scary. The next one is The Chalk Closet. This one I give an A minus, and it's all about this summer school, which is another interesting, unique setting. And because I never went to summer school, and a lot of kids didn't, but then a lot of kids did. So you got a lot of people who can identify with this interesting setting where, like, you're going to school in the summer. Ugh. And it's in this classroom with this really shitty teacher. And basically, if you have a missing assignment or you get a bad grade, you are taken to the chalk closet. And I gotta be honest, this story was very uncomfortable. And it was terrifying. It was very unsettling. And I really did not like the feeling I got reading it. And then after reading it, it bothered me for the rest of the day. It was very, very intense. This feeling where, like, the kids are locked in school and they're taken to this chalk closet. They never come back. It was very unsettling. And, of course, it ends with the main kid being taken to the chalk closet. And there are a lot of questions, like, what happens to the parents? Like, the parents know that their kid is missing. And, there's all sorts of questions. but the feelings that this story gives are very, very worthwhile if you want to read a good horror short story. And then the ending, of course, it turns out that, like, there's ghosts in the chalk closet, and they have to do, they just write with chalk all day long or something. It's very weird, and it's very creepy, and it's really it's scary. It is actually, it's genuinely scary. And so that was a good short story. The best one, though, was The Perfect School. I give this story an A plus. And you guys know this story. It's all about a troublemaker kid who pranks his brother too much, and he gets sent to this school where they claim they'll make your kid perfect. And what happens is that they turn your kid into a clone, or a robot, I should say. And this is a really fantastic story, and the episode is even better. It's a very fun, yet very scary and entertaining story, where it's like this prison break type of story, and I love, the best part of this book though is the ending, because in the end you think that everything's fucked, because you think, oh no, I'm really sad that, like, this is a negative ending. This is like one of the times where I wished that it turned out good. And instead, what happens is it turns out that the main kid ended up succeeding. And he ended up actually escaping the school. And the other clone, the clone, the quote unquote perfect clone, is stuck in the school. And I just thought that was so badass. Like, if you want to talk about the coolest Goosebumps character, it has got to be, I think, Brian from The Perfect School. I mean, what a badass. So I gotta say, like, props to him, because he is the coolest character in Goosebumps history. And there should have totally been a sequel where it was a full-on book. And that's another thing, is it's hard to believe that The Perfect School was not a full-on book, because it definitely had the potential to be one. So overall, I have to give this book an F. Like, I'm sorry, but no matter what, I'll never come back and read this book in full again, unless it's to torture myself for some reason. That is the only way I would read this book again. It is miserable, it is boring, it is dull, and another problem in this book is that a lot of the stories feel like they're just cheap setups for cheap twists. Like, I think in one, there's like something about being turned into a gargoyle or something. Like, really dumb, stupid things that happen. So anyways, I didn't like this book at all. This book started to make me not want to read Goosebumps anymore, and I never thought that would happen. So anyways, please like this video, comment, tell me what you thought of Goosebumps, even more tales to give you goosebumps. And please subscribe to this channel if you would like to see more Goosebumps book reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.